the Merrillville Town Council for January 14th, 2020. Let us stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious God, we give you thanks for a new year, the opportunities that are presented. We pray for your blessings upon these deliberations. We pray that they would be done well and good, sincerely, fairly, justly, that truth might abide and that it be benefit for our community and for our world. Thank you, Lord, for your blessing and your peace. I pray in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you. Please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Councilman Spann.
Present.
Councilman Minchuk.
Here.
Councilwoman Uzelak. Here. Councilman Bella.
Here.
Councilman Pettit.
Here.
Councilman White.
Here.
Councilman Hardaway.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. Moving on tonight, we do have a swearing in of new Merrillville police officers. Would Officer Jacob Olson and Thomas A. DeCero please approach the front with Chief Petrush. And Madam Clerk Treasurer, would you please swear them in?
Jacob and Thomas. Jacob and Thomas, can you please raise your right hand as you've done and repeat after me? I, Jacob Olson, and I, Thomas DeCero, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and honestly discharge my duties as police officer of the Merrillville Police Department in the town of Merrillville, Indiana, according to the law and the best of my skill and ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
All right.
Hello, how are you?
Congratulations.
Oh, there he is.
Congratulations. Nice start.
Congratulations.
All right. Moving on to item 2, we have a proclamation honoring the 2019 Pop Warner Mighty Mites. Madam Clerk Treasurer, would you please read the proclamation?
Proclamation of the Town of Merrillville, State of Indiana, Merrillville Pop Warner 2019 Mighty Mites. Whereas beginning in week 4, the 2019 Mighty Mites won every game, displaying outstanding skill and sportsmanship. And whereas out of the Mighty Mites' entire team roster, only 6 players had ever played the sport before. And whereas due to the dedication of the coaches and the players, the 2019 Mighty Mites progressed to and won the 2019 state championships. Now, therefore, the Merrillville Town Council would like to honor the 2019 Merrillville Pop Warner Mighty Mites football team. We are proud of our state champions and stand with them to be recognized.
So,
Head coach, Stephen Minchuk. Assistant coach, William Malone. Assistant coach, Andrew Vanderwood. Assistant coach, Larry Simpson. Team parent, Brittany Haskins. And the players are Clayton Boyd, Jordan Clemens, Bradley Daffis, Terry Irvin, Maurice Ford, Michael Green, Makai Haskins, Clarence Justice, Jalen King, Jeremy Lyons, Antonio Madeira, AJ Minchuk, Jackson Moore, Kai Parker, Jacob Powers, Bob Rosevear Ross, Isaiah Russell, Austin Vanderwood, Curtis Walker, and Marcus Williams. Special recognition is given to assistant coach Larry Simpson, who, after 33 years of service to our town's youth, has coached his last game. Thank you, Coach Simpson, for volunteering for your time and being a role model to our town's youth. Let's give him a hand. Whereas we have set our hands and caused the seal of the town of Merrillville to be affixed, Council President Rick Bella, Councilman Spann, Hardaway, Minchuk, White, Councilwoman Uzelak, and Councilman Pettit.
Is there a motion by the membership for approval of this proclamation?
So moved.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion that we recognize and accept this proclamation for the 2019 State Championship Merrillville Pirate Mighty Mites.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Minchuk. Seconded by Mrs. Uzelak for approval. Any questions or comments?
Mr. President, Coach
Mr. Pettit.
Stephen, where's the hardware?
There it is. He brought it up.
Did he?
He brought it
There it
home.
is.
There you go. Put it on the table.
He wants to take it home.
Now, is that like the Stanley Cup, Steve? Do they get to each one get to sleep with it or take it home?
Madam Clerk Treasurer, call the roll, please.
Councilman Spann.
Yes.
Yes. Councilman Minchuk.
Yes.
Councilwoman Uzelak.
Yes.
President Bella.
Aye.
Councilman Pettit.
Yes.
Vice President White.
Yes.
Councilman Hardaway. 7 yeses.
All right, motion carries. Congratulations, guys. And we'll have a signed copy.
Don't forget the trophy.
I think Sean wants the trophy.
We could put it on Kelly's counter. Everybody could see it.
No, I got a cripple.
You need a trophy case. Kind of a big trophy.
It is nice. Moving on tonight to the consent agenda. We have the accounts payable voucher for approval for January 14th and the town council meeting minutes of December 23rd.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Uselak, second by Mr. Pettit for approval. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain. One abstention. Okay. For standing committees, I thought we should ask the past chairman from last year if there's any reporting or anything pending that committee should recognize and bring forward tonight. So, Ms. Clerk Treasurer, if you want to run through the different committees, we'll see if there's any business.
Alrighty. We have Budget and Finance Committee.
Any report?
I have nothing, Mr. President.
Okay. Go ahead, Kelly.
Public Works.
Nothing at this time. I do got something we'll bring it up later.
Okay.
Okay.
Council Affairs.
That was Roxanne Lamarca.
Okay.
She's not here anymore, but I don't believe we have anything on this council affairs at this time.
Personnel Policy and Employee Benefits.
No report.
Public Safety.
No report.
I do have something for public safety, if you don't mind. Without getting into details, I know our police department's been very busy the past couple days, and hats off to the investigators for doing a really good job with the investigation.
They did an excellent job in tracking this guy down and closing this case.
I couldn't be prouder than the officers worked the past 2 days on this Department of South homicide. It was a cruel and unusual punishment that lady had to go through in that hotel room. Let me see. that was a horrific crime scene. My condolences go out to the family.
Next one, okay. Parks and Recreation.
It's also Roxanne.
Okay.
No report, unless Jan, you might have something.
I don't, but I noticed Community and Recreation Center, so I can.
Okay. Environmental Affairs.
That was Chrissy, Mr. President.
Election, Public Relations, and Census 2020.
No report at this time.
I do have something for Census 2020, if you don't mind. As you know, I've been working with specialist Susan Hogan from the Chicago Census Bureau, and just last week I've worked with Vicki Bennell, code enforcer, and we've taken some information to some of the local churches in Merrillville, and now we'll be sending them partner agreements to partner with us in getting the word out for the Census 2020. That's all I have.
Great.
Economic Development.
No report.
Utility Liaisons.
No report.
Abandoned Properties.
No report.
Town Identity and Beautification.
So the next two are new committees. We're going to discuss it shortly, so we can just finish up on those. Pass them down. So there's a couple of new committees I wanted to form. One is Town Identity and Beautification. I think that we need to really expand our efforts in this area. And so I felt it needed its own committee to concentrate on this issue, bring forth ideas to the council for approval, and see what we can do moving forward with identity and beautification of our town. I've seen a lot of grants that other cities and towns have accomplished, and I'd like for us to investigate grants, possible funding, where we can really start making Merrillville look nicer than what it does. The other committee is the Community Center. This is the largest project by far that the town has ever done. And along with staff committee, I felt it needed a councilman involved with that. And for that, I wanted the three councilmen affected most by that. It's in Jeff Minchuk's ward. So if Jeff can co-chair with Sean Pettit, who is right across the street, and Leonard, you just about touched the property. But maybe report back to us, make sure we're staying on track with Jan's reporting, and Matt, and Pat, and Steve. And it's a big project. I think we need to share it with the residents every month, what's going on. Okay? So that's the ideas behind that. And what I'd like to ask for tonight is we have an urgent need to appoint our council representative to the Lake County Solid Waste Management District. They actually have a meeting Thursday. So I'll open up nominations for that position. It's one council member.
Mr. President, I'd like to go ahead and nominate Mr. Councilman White for that position.
Second.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Leonard.
Thank you, sir.
We'll look forward to your reporting.
Absolutely.
I am sending around the proclamation so we can sign it and get it to the Mighty Mites. General orders, are there any general orders tonight? I know it's our first meeting, so there's not much going on. Resolutions? No. There's no BZA actions, right, Pat? Is there any old business we need to take care of? No. New business?
Mr. President, I do.
Mr. Minchuk.
It's actually continuing business. I'm not really sure where to bring it up. Of course, with the last rainstorm we had, we received, what was it, like 2 to 3 inches within hours. One particular section of my ward that has problems is and the best way to generalize it would be the southwest section of Turkey Creek. Every time we get a heavy rain like that, we get some problems in that area for our residents. I talked to representatives from MCD. I also talked to Matt Lake. Of course, we can pretty much tell when it rains. That's when we get an infiltration in MCD's lines. It is coming from MCD's lines. So we need to find out, or actually we need to pinpoint where this infiltration is coming from. I'm sure Matt can get more into detail than I can. But at this point, what we're trying to do is we're trying to pinpoint exactly where the infiltration is coming from. Is it coming from a residence? Is it coming from a particular drainage spot? Where is it coming from? Because it's always in the same spot, and it's always when there's a heavy rain. Because we're also dealing with an older subdivision with a lot of trees, clay tile, pipes that have been privately owned before they were deeded over to MCD. So there's a lot of repairs that need to be done there. There's a lot of repairs that are going on there. I know I've seen them in the neighborhood, but this is still a problem. Matt, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, and I shared with you in 2007 there was a study done in the Turkey Creek subdivision with regards to the sanitary infrastructure that was conducted by R.W. Armstrong. There's a lot of information with flow meter testing and the conditions of the pipes and some recommendations. Recently, Robinson Engineering is now going to be updating that plan. I got Ron Wiedemann from Robinson here if he wants to comment or elaborate any further on that. But they are being proactive. They will be systematically following through, I believe, with the plan. They've done some pipe patching and clearing a lot of things already. So they are working on it. And it is, one of the things that if residents call my office, I always recommend that they put a backwater valve installed so that the sanitary and any other infiltration doesn't come back into their basement. That's one way, probably the only way you can protect yourself from that situation until they get all these improvements done throughout their system. So,
thank you, sir. There'll be a part for public comment. I know there's probably some people in the audience that like to talk on this. We will have a section coming up at just next under public comment. But also, I would urge people who live in that area who do have problems, please get your addresses and names over to Matt Lake and MCD as well, so we can start pinpointing and narrowing down where this problem's at. We know it's just that one particular area of Turkey Creek. Of course, there's other areas as well, but this is where our major area of concern is in my ward at this time. So we're definitely looking into it, but please get your information over to Matt, get your information over to MCD to help us pinpoint and narrow down where this problem is so we can tackle it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Sure. If she has something, sure, absolutely. Jan, did you have another comment about the community center that we passed by?
I did. I just
go ahead,
wanted
please.
to make mention that I cleaned up these revenue projections that I had currently given to you. I've been working with Sammy Wright at Campbellon Insurance, and I don't know if it was a typo or nothing, but that $250,000 line item is now down to $46,000 to $50,000 for the liability in the building. I also took Sean, your advice, and I was able to move 4 salaries over to the general budget, which decreased the expense side of that drastically down to about $658,000. So that is all given to Kelly for her review, but it shows that with a just a 7% increase that you would see a profit in year 9. And when she reviews it, she'll probably have some comments as well.
Okay, thank you, Jan. So moving on to public comment, I see some of my old Turkey Creek neighbors in here. So please approach, state your name and address for us tonight, and offer your comment.
Good evening. My name is Curtis Pearson, Ross Township, one of the Ross Township Board officials, an elected precinct committeeman. First of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year to everybody, and to congratulations to a lot of our new legislators that's up here now, new faces that's here. I know we're going to have a good working relationship this year. And I'd like to commend Mr. Matt Lake for always being there when we need you, for a lot of the floods and things that's been happening in our area out there. And came right there and took care of it. My precinct and the people there wanted me to let you know that. And I want to get right to what I want to say to Mr. Riordan and Miss Sheila. It's not bad, it's good. Anyway, first of all, the state has stated that we will have a left-hand turn signal on 57th and Cleveland Street. All right.
Hey.
Everybody getting racked up and hurt right there. This year, we're gonna get that left-hand turn signal. It's gonna alleviate a lot of those accidents. Now, right in tune with that, I'd like to talk with Mr. Riordan. Mr. Riordan, are we still on track for 57 being paved this year?
Yes, we are. I would, so I don't misspeak, I'm going to ask Steve, the engineering administrator, to elaborate on that.
Yeah, that 57th is on our schedule this year to be resurfaced from Broadway to Chase Street. It was on there last year, but we ran out of funding and it couldn't be done. But that corridor is one of our top priorities this year. Make sure we have that.
Chase Street to Broadway.
Yeah, we're gonna see what the where the state project's gonna leave off. Pick up from there. We don't want to resurface something. They come in and tear up what we did. So we'll get a time schedule for them.
You talking about for 57 for that corner?
Yeah, for the corner. We'll let them do their work. Get in there, do everything they need to do, and then wherever they leave off, we'll pick up from there and we'll resurface what we need to. We just don't want to spend the money and go in there and beautify everything, and they come in and tear up what we did. So we'll get a schedule from NDOT and we'll move forward from there.
Right, I appreciate if I could get that schedule of knowing when that payment would be, so I'll be able to let my people know.
Yep, absolutely.
And Mrs. Sheila, you know that there's construction being done in Lakewood Estates. There's already 5 buildings that have been constructed there, and I don't know how many more there are going to be up there. But you do know that the machinery is tearing up that street. That guy's tearing the whole street up. So I don't know, are they set to repair that part of the street where they're putting all that new equipment and setting it up right there? Because it's tearing the street up right there. So we need to know what's going to happen there.
Saying that we go out and assess what's going on out there. I'll be back as what's
Okay, one other question I did want to get past with this, because it was my understanding that there was not supposed to be any construction on that marsh land and they're building there. So is something changed since then?
So all of our permits are approved by.
So they checked it out.
Let us know which area, which one you're talking about. All of our housing permits are approved by.
Okay, thank you. I'll get back with you and let you know exactly which that area is. Okay. Well,
Thanks, Curtis.
Lots or something that you're talking about, just let us know.
Okay, sure will. Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Curtis.
Bye.
Is there any other public comment tonight? Ma'am, please approach. Absolutely.
Good afternoon. I'm not a precinct committeeman.
Oh, just your name and address.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm a resident, and where I live at is in Meadowdale. I understand that Turkey Creek have always had a problem with flooding. I moved in Merrillville in '95. I did not have a problem with my basement flooding until 2006 or 2007. What I want to know is, what have changed? What is the reason why we keep getting all our basements being flooded? Now, each time my basement's being flooded, guess what? My insurance goes up because I'm putting in claims. So what have happened? And please don't take this offensively, but I hope you guys are not snowballing us and just telling us anything. We need to know exactly what's being done about this issue. It's getting worse. And like I said, from 95, when I first moved to Merrillville, up until 2006, I have not had any issue whatsoever. I've been hearing rumors that you guys turn the water off and it goes back to the resident's basement. You notice I said rumors. So I don't know whether or not it's true. Maybe you could clarify that for me. I'm not sure.
What is
But
your
if
address?
that's the case, then another thing I've heard that it's not the town of Merrillville issue. It's the residents' issue. Well, first of all, how could it be the residents' issue when the water is coming from the sewer, wherever it's coming from? We're not taking the water and put it on our basement. Do you think that we want to do that? It costs us more money?
If you like, I can answer a couple of those questions for you.
Yes.
One misconception that a lot of people have is when they see water in their basements or they see any kind of backups, they automatically think, what the heck is the town doing? It's not the town. There's two different entities here. We are the town of Merrillville.
Yes.
Then you have the Merrillville Conservancy District, which is a totally different entity.
Okay.
The infiltration, and what the infiltration is anything outside of that sewer system, rainwater, water coming from houses or residents, water coming from anywhere outside of that system gets into that system and causes it to back up and forces it into your basement.
So who's in control of that?
That system is operated and owned by the Conservancy District.
Okay, now who's
We're trying to do what we can to help here.
Okay, but who's the Conservancy District? Who's that?
I mean, if I could write a letter to Jesus and ask him to stop raining, I would. But I don't think it's going to help.
Well, I've already
What
been
we
praying
need to do
about
is
that.
find out where this infiltration is coming from. And when you say residents,
Okay.
it very well could be the residents. We don't know. We have to do an inspection. A lot of times, Turkey Creek, I grew up in Turkey Creek since I was in third grade, ma'am. A lot of times in Turkey Creek, those systems are not separated. They're a direct shot, or they dump directly whatever infiltration they get into the system, which may cause it to back up. I know of a couple residents, it's been a little bit since I've been in that area in particular, they have their rainwater, their downspouts connected to the system, which is a no-no. So unless we go through, or unless MCD goes through and inspects each house, it's getting harder and harder and harder to pinpoint the location. Now, there's more experts than me here that can get into detail, but just to let you know, there's two different entities here.
Okay.
They're both trying to solve a problem, but the system is owned and operated and maintained by the Conservancy District, which has nothing to do with the town. We deal with stormwater, which could also be an infiltration problem. So Matt will go out in that area, he'll check to see if any of the rainwater drainage is infiltrating that system.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully that answers a couple of your questions.
Okay, I know you're speaking on Turkey Creek, but I live in the Meadowdale area. And like I said before, I didn't have an issue up until 2006 when they had to evacuate the apartments over there. That's when my issue started.
It's the same concept anywhere. In this area is where we're having more of a problem than anywhere else, but it happens throughout the town as well in different locations.
If you have Gary Sanitary District as your provider.
There probably is.
Yeah. And if it's coming in through a floor drain or it's coming up.
It's coming through my sewer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the sanitary system. That should be completely sealed, but it's not.
Okay.
There's illegal tie-ins. People have gutters and downspouts tied into that system. It can only hold so much water. So when it rains, it gets surge charged. That infrastructure is owned by Gary Sanitary District.
Okay.
And the only way to protect your home is this.
Why just install one?
Yeah. This here, it flaps back automatically.
Yes.
When water tries to get back. Until they line all of their sewers, this is the only way you can protect your home.
Okay, so by me living in the Meadowdale area, I'm now looking at the Gary Sanitary District.
Yes.
So I don't need to look at the Merrillville anymore.
Correct.
So I need to address their councilmen pertaining to this.
They run that
Gary Sanitary
infrastructure.
has their own board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's who I need to address, like I'm addressing you guys now. So I need to address them. Thank you for your time.
Can we have your name, ma'am?
Yes, Janice Roby.
And what is your address?
R-O-B-Y.
What is your address, please?
My address is 1300. Who's asking me that?
That's me.
Oh, okay. 1300 Meadow Drive.
Okay.
and it is in the Meadowdale area. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up, sir, please.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Robert Freeman. I live in, my address is 1271 West 76th Avenue, Savannah Ridge. And it's only two directions to get into the neighborhood, Grant Street and Buchanan Street. Whenever it rains real hard, Grant Street have water up to the waist for 2.5 blocks. Okay, and Buchanan Street, same way, but it is not that far. But this has been going on for over 15 years. It's a steady, ongoing problem. There's no end to it. And you got two where you didn't sit up here and spend all the money for the retention ponds on 73rd. Then you got the one on 70 on Taft. Pump haven't never worked since you put it in.
Would you say the pump?
The pump house.
We
on
don't,
73rd and Taft.
that's not us. We have the ponds, that metering station on site.
Right.
That is IHCD. That's a metering station. They're two
Okay,
separate
nobody
systems.
works together.
No, we
do.
They're what you flush down the toilet, where it comes when it
Right.
rains down. So they're two separate systems. As far as Grant Street, there's a new development that may go in along in Savannah Ridge.
Right.
That's going to take all that water and bring it to the west. So we're working with that development. That development will actually help that whole area. So we're working with their engineers right now on that. Very familiar with the area.
Where you talking about, that's at the last 76. Okay, where I'm talking about is on 73rd at the beginning, as soon as you drive in. People cannot even go to work sometimes. I take my own personal truck and push people's
You're
cars
saying
out of the
73rd
hot
Avenue.
water.
You're saying 73rd Avenue.
73rd and Grant, right here, 73rd and Grant, Savannah Ridge, 73rd, Buchanan, Savannah Ridge. It's only two ways in. And water is right here.
The only time it's up there is when there's leaves covering the drain.
I got it on video on my phone.
Well, I'd like to see it, and I can meet you after the meeting.
Yeah.
Sir, would you hang back then and talk to Matt afterwards and maybe show him your video and stuff, and we'll look into it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our system doesn't have any pumps.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
And Steve, maybe you can watch that too. Okay.
Well, I know we've got some rain coming this weekend, so that might be a time to kind of
We're really saturated now, so
with the ground saturated.
please come up if you want to speak. And actually, if you would like to speak also, just come on up too, so you could be next. So we can just move on. Thank you.
Hello, I'm
Hi.
Steve Solomon. I'm at 965 West 72nd Avenue. Some of you might know me from coming up to the house, but I had to put my talking points on my phone so I wouldn't forget the important things. So I'm just going to read from that. I came from Chicago 16 years ago for a better life, not for flooded basements. I'm trying to wrap my head around all the drainage problems we're experiencing. MCD board members, are there any here? Anybody here on the MCD board? I've already spoke with them. I've spoken with storm management. I had them all at my house. They inspected their pipes with underground cameras and showed me drawings of their system. Stormwater management blames it on MCD piping, said it was full of holes like Swiss cheese. I talked to MCD and they said they are putting stents in their pipes, as in your arteries. MCD also says many residents need to disconnect their sumps from the sewer. That was in September. The end result is we still have the problem. I had raw sewage in my bathtub last Saturday morning. Neighbors of mine also had sewage backups. This has been going on for many years, and I'm sure you're all aware. I talked to one of the old timers when I first moved here, and he was on the MCD, and he told me they combined the sanitary system with the stormwater system to increase the flow. Many residents have drain tiles that flow into the stormwater drain, and somehow it's coming up through floor drains mixed with sewage. Residents are supposed to disconnect theirs from the sewer system. Many are not even aware of this. Where is code enforcement? It's just a big mess that needs to be taken care of. By the way, when are our levies on our property tax going to end? Combined with the Calumet River Basin, MCD, and stormwater management, it ends up, for me, being $345 a year. I'm already paying a bill. We're paying for a service we're not getting. Why is it the status quo to have a shut-off valve and a backflow preventer? Is this the only answer? Can MCD or stormwater management or the town sponsor it like Independent Shield does for their people? Many people are not aware that you need an endorsement on your homeowner's insurance for sewer backups and sump pump failure until they try to make a claim. Call your insurance and see for yourself. People are being told that they are having seepage. It doesn't come up into toilets and bathtubs. Seepage doesn't do that. It comes around your walls. I would think that the upgrading of our drainage system would have priority over a new community center. More development, more parking lots. Where's the water going to go? The developers don't care. They don't live here. Downsize useless parking lots like the lot near Ruler Foods. It looks like a minefield of potholes. There's nowhere for the water to go. We need government transparency. We are awake and aware through social media. Let's stop kicking the ball down the road and come up with a doable answer. I've considered consulting with IDEM. Will be my next step.
Would you mind just typing it up in a letter format and sending it to us so we can review it? Since you read it off your phone there, send it to us.
I can text it to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Who was next, Miss? Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I live in Meadowdale as well, and we have a huge issue of flooding. I live at 5351 Pierce, and behind my house there is like a wildlife land. It's a flat land, no trees. And when that fills up with water, then that's when our houses flood. Not only our basements, the street as well. Like I couldn't even get out of my garage because the water was so high. And those people who were already parked on the street, they had to get their cars towed out because the water was so high. My water is not coming from a sewer in the basement. It's coming through the back door. So it's pouring into our back door and filling up my basement. So I had the house for a year now, and it's flooded 5 times. And the water has gone all the way up to past my couch. So it keeps consistently happening, and I don't know what else to do. I called Gary Sanitation. They said it has nothing to do with them.
Matt, do you have the address?
Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
Stay with me afterwards.
5351 Pierce. And it's not just me, it's my whole, I live in a cul-de-sac, it's all the houses.
Okay.
My neighbor next door, she said she's going to sell her house because she's tired of it. And then the people next to them already sold their house because their kitchen got submerged in water.
That's 53rd Court?
5351 Pierce Street.
Okay.
Street.
I knew quite a few people that lived there, and their basements flooded, and they had sump pumps in their basement and in their backyard, kicking the water out to the street. You are what Gary's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have a sump pump.
We were inspecting it a few years ago. That went on for every time we had a heavy rain, 50 years to 100-year rain. And like I said, I know quite a few people that lived out there, that do live out there.
Yes.
Do you have a sump pump in
Yes.
your backyard?
No, in the basement, and it works really well.
Okay, but in the backyard, a lot of them put the sump up and kick the water out to the street. Is that right, ma'am?
Yeah. Yep.
And that helped to alleviate the water.
What I like to say is I don't think that's sewage. I think that is stormwater. I don't know how it's getting there, but if it was sewage, you would definitely know about it. So I'll be talking with Matt as well to see.
We have had sewage. The whole house smelled like feces. I had to put my kids in a hotel for 3 days. well, it emptied. And it's not a good issue. Not only does it, have mold issue, financial, also for me, DCS. If my kids go to school and say there's no heat, then DCS will be at my door.
Okay. Can you stay after the meeting and talk to Matt and get more details? Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is George Pollock. I live on 72nd Place in Turkey Creek. I grew up there as well as you, sir. My parents bought the house when it was brand new in '67. When I was young, my dad tried to finish the basement. The flooding is not a new issue in that area.
What's your address, though?
914 West 72nd Place. And I'm here just to put my name and my residence on record that this is nothing new there. He tried to finish the basement. That ended up with, when I was a little kid, as 11, watching the sewer water shoot out of the toilet in the basement. Thought it was cool at the time. I was only 11, but now, unfortunately, Mom and Dad have passed, and I bought their house from them, the house I grew up in. When I graduated Merrillville High School, I joined the Navy, moved back in 2001, bought their house from them in 2014. This has always been an issue with them. Thankfully, they put in the resources that you mentioned, the valve, and since then they had one sump pump, and I put 2 sump pumps in, and if not for that, constantly monitoring that whenever it rains, I have the emergency alarm in there. It's a constant worry. You shouldn't have to live like that. That lady that mentioned that she just had the problem since 2007 is lucky. And I don't know, I've never had to, because I pretty much have it under control. But luckily this last time, the worst thing that happened is both of my check valves blew up in my face because the lines were frozen going out from the sump pump. And I was able to splice those back together, saving my basement from flooding. If the water gets this high, my furnace is fried because the circuit board is that high. Along with a hot water heater, I don't know if anybody's had to try to light a hot water heater after it's been submerged in this much water. It's not a fun thing. It's very dangerous. Like I said, I just want to put my name and residence on record for this. I have the backup utilities, whatever you want to call them, but it's not fun being woken up by an alarm at 12 o'clock at night to run downstairs and manage my house like it's a sinking ship. And the problem's only been getting worse. And like the one lady had mentioned, the plants get overrun, they shut them off, the sewers back up. Well, guess what? Our basements are the ones that receive that. It's not, I'm sure there is the drainage water from the streets involved, but you shouldn't have sewer water coming into your house. And I'm on the neighborhood app, and a poor lady, I can't think of her name right now. I could look it up. She bought a house. I can't think of what street it was, but on Madison. Bought it, had it for 3 days, moved into her new house, and this weekend she had water in her basement. Can you imagine that? Yeah. I don't know if any of you have a basement and ever went through this, but it is no fun. And I don't know if this is the right place to mention this, but I would really appreciate it if somebody could tell me who to go to, maybe get a petition going, hire a lawyer, whatever it takes to get this fixed, because it's like I said, I'm lucky. It only cost me $20 to buy 2 new check valves for my sump pumps, along with a couple changes of clothes. But I don't know if you're the man to talk to, if I need to go to the Conservancy District, get along on our street and sign a petition, or what? Because
honestly, it's the Conservancy District. This is their draft study here. I brought it here tonight intentionally. Robinson is working on an update of this, and this is all through MCD. Who
is MCD? I've never heard of that.
The Merrillville Conservancy District.
Okay.
So
This is my first meeting I've ever been to, and
that's your sanitary company. Again, that's a sanitary pipe coming back in your house.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's not.
Health
It doesn't come in now because I take care of it. But
it's
at the same time, you got your sump pumps going because of the drain tiles and everything else.
Yeah, it's a health issue too.
Yeah, and if I'm not there to shut the sewer off, or the electricity goes out, I got to hook up my generator to get everything going, or I'm looking at thousands of dollars worth of damage. Thank God, since I moved back in 2001, lived with my parents, the basement I probably saved it close to 25 times.
Another concern is disclosure. Someone sells a house with a known problem. They buy a house and they end up.
Well, I bought the house knowing of the problem.
Yeah,
of course.
you're not in that circumstance, but I've got a couple of calls like that recently. Yeah.
But I pity the people that buy a house. If I sold that house to somebody, I would have to tell them that they're going to have a problem. And of course, I'm not going to get top dollar for that house. And that's a concern of mine also.
Yeah.
If you wait after the meeting, there's a map in there that Matt shared with us. We've been working on this already today, and I believe that street was pegged for new sewers with the MCD study that's in our map. Now that's a different entity, but you can at least see where your home is, and I believe that was one of the streets.
Okay, well, that makes sense because our sewers run out the back of the house. The sewer water goes down in the streets, and I myself go out to the drains in the street to clear the debris away so the street will empty.
Yeah, we should all be doing that all the time.
This the last rain, I actually saw a city worker come out. Yeah. He hit 2 of the 3, left the deepest one there. I don't even think he knew it was there because the water was so high. There's a couple houses down.
Yeah, Turkey Creek's got a lot of silver maples. It's a constant struggle keeping the drains clear. And that's our infrastructure on the street. That's the town's infrastructure.
And I'm sure that probably has a lot to do with the water getting into the sewer and backing everything up. And but like I said, when if that is true, the lady mentioned that
they have lift stations.
If they cut their thing off to save their plant, we're the receptacle for the water, and that's.
So can you stay afterwards and review that map then, sir? Would you mind?
Yeah, I can share this with you too.
Not right now. After the meeting, we can look at it.
Thank you for your time.
Was there any other public comment? Thank you, sir. And we did get your address, right? Did we get his address? Okay.
Yeah, 914 West 77.
Thank you.
And the neighbor right next door also had the same problem. She wants me to let her know how the meeting went tonight. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm also his neighbor. I live at 926 West 72nd Place, and we bought our home, I guess, around 2010, and since I've been there, it's flooded at least 6 times.
It backed up in your basement, you're saying?
Yes, it comes up through the drain, through the toilets, through the tub. Yeah.
And have you?
We have, it's one down there, yes.
Okay.
So if you're not there to physically turn it, then it's nothing.
This one doesn't need
it's automatic.
Well, we don't have an automatic one. We have one that you have to manually do.
Yeah. You want this is just goes by gravity. Just when it comes back, it just automatically closes.
So this past Saturday, we did have it shut off, and we still got water.
Yeah, the valve might be.
It's not sealing.
Yeah, the valve's not sealing. But I would recommend this highly. This is the only protection from their system. This is it.
Are those real expensive, man? Are those pretty affordable?
The device itself, I got this from Leap's Plumbing Supply. Mm-hmm. I think it was like $35-$40.
Okay.
So depends upon where the installation is. We actually on our webpage have a video on how to install these because it's such a prominent problem with the sanitary system. We decided on the town stormwater side to have a video on how to put this in. So if you go to our webpage, it'll show you.
What page is that?
Town of Merrillville.
Okay.
Go into stormwater. And even though it's a sanitary utility issue, we have this on in terms of a video showing you how to put this in.
Okay.
Again, recommend it highly. And again, when this is closed, you can't flush your toilet until it goes down, but it's better than having a backed up basement. You know what I mean?
Okay. So if you can, put my address on record as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I'd like to just add one more thing about that check, Joe. Independence Hill Conservancy has one that comes out like a cartridge so that you can clean it, maintain it. It's good for you. no doubt about it. But the water goes somewhere else. So somebody who's never flooded before is going to get it.
Right.
Guaranteed.
You're displacing that water with somebody else. Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Please come up, sir. Thank you. If you want to speak, could you come to the front row and just sit in order, please? Save us some time.
Make sure you can get by.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, make sure you get by there.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Craig.
Praise the Lord, everyone. My name is Fletcher Williams. I'm from 8350 Grant Circle. And my question is, do you help senior citizens and rental apartments? Am I wasting my time coming here?
No, could you be a little more specific, sir?
Yeah, what do you mean?
All right, I'll make it very specific.
Okay.
We was on national TV on ABC News because we was on news. They put up a sign says parking is permitted or not permitted. Now, people that have health care, when they're gone, if there's somebody coming there to help somebody, their car being towed away. People now don't want to come and help their patient. So now what do? Since they put up the sign, they strike back at us. They also said there's about 4 of us are veterans. They want us veterans out of there. I'm a disabled veteran, and there's another disabled veteran. I have an attorney who's going to help fight, but there are those that cannot afford an attorney. So I'm coming to you folks, asking, what can we do, or can we come to you folks for help?
We have an attorney too, so I'm going to turn to him. And I think the only thing we could really do is probably facilitate a meeting between the town and management of your building. I know there's been other issues there also.
Yes, there's quite a few.
So perhaps we could do a meeting with them and talk about some of these issues. I remember campaigning in your area and hearing all about some of these issues. Some of it is private matters, though, and really, unless it's a public health issue, the town or the county really can't get involved. But I think if we work with them, maybe we can get something done.
All right.
And I'll get together with town manager and our town attorney. And
so I try to get with them.
Let's get your information. I think I have your information already, but we'll get together with you. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Sorry it's taking me so long.
No, it's fine. Not a problem at all. Thanks for the service. Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. President, before we adjourn, I was going to ask that we have elected officials here, and we asked for them to stand. Elected officials to stand and say your name.
My name is Judy Dunlap, and I am with the Merrillville Community Corporation. I serve as Vice President.
Congratulations. I saw that on the paper.
Thank you, Judy.
And thank you for allowing the superintendent to be the superintendent and letting him know that you will work with the Merrillville Community School. Certainly appreciate that.
You're quite welcome.
I'm Curtis Pearson, Ross Township official. Matter of fact, we might be able to assist him in some type of way. I was trying to listen to what you said somewhat. I don't know if it's Jan ordered you. I don't know. With Ross Township, might be something I'll talk with you too a little bit. Also, Merrillville selected precinct.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Members, I want to go back to one item I forgot under new business was the approval of a take-home car for the town engineer. We talked about it during our workshop, and I forgot to ask for a motion. I apologize, but if someone can make that motion, we can vote on it.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mrs. Uselak, to allow the take-home vehicle for the town engineer. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Announcements, Madam Clerk Treasurer. You're my reader today.
I see.
Mr. President, could I make one thing, sir?
Oh,
Along with
I'm sorry.
FCD, I'm getting the names and the people we're gonna check into this too, find out what's going on. Matt and I talked about this already. We're gonna see what we can do to help out with the town. I will turn in the names tomorrow.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And what I would really recommend, and we'll reach out, is we probably need a joint meeting between all these different entities. And let's get on the same page, everybody, and help help educate the residents. It's very confusing. If you live here and haven't lived here for 20 years, like a lot of us, you don't know where to turn and what to do. So if we can help facilitate that, we should. Thank you.
All right. The Environmental Resource Committee meeting is January 16th at 2:00 p.m. Abandoned and Blighted Properties Committee meeting is January 24th at 10:30 a.m. The Merrillville Redevelopment Committee meeting is January 28th at 6:15 p.m. And our next town council meeting is January 28th at 6:30 p.m.
Any other announcements? Hearing none, I'll move for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned. All right.